Jobs get eaten up by technological progress. They always have. With AGI, Artificial General Intelligence, we are once again standing at the bottom of an exponential curve of efficiency that is going to upset our workforce and shove our labor into whatever the next thing is. Here are some of what will be the first jobs to go with just a tiny bit more maturity of what we're calling AI. Number 1. Drivers. It's not going to be this year, and probably not 2024 or 2025, but shortly beyond then, self-driving is going to completely change the transportation of goods and people. And when it starts to happen, it's going to happen very suddenly. There's a company called Waymo that has fully autonomous cars, no drivers at all, giving rides on public roads and highways right now. For them, this is not happening in the future. You can literally go to Phoenix and hop in one of these cars and get a ride today. I was at CES earlier this year interviewing one of their reps about this technology.
This one, we built it from the ground up. We call it the first purpose-built vehicle for autonomous driving, right? So it's rider first, not driver first.
Yeah.
And it's all optimized for autonomous driving. You do not see any controls in there.
They're using a combination of cameras, radar, and LiDAR to completely autonomously drive goods and people around the Southwest. They also make a semi-truck. After this gets started, long-haul truckers will still have a job for a while, but it's going to be a completely different thing. This thing actually already happens in the shipping industry, like ocean ships. At first, human drivers will still be taking control of big trucks once they arrive at their destination city, but there will be no reason for them to ride along for that whole journey across the country. Gone will be the days of truckers trying to stay awake at the wheel while they cross the country back and forth. Long-haul trucks will do all of that highway driving autonomously. Human drivers will become masters of their own local area, hopping into the trucks at a checkpoint a couple miles outside of whichever downtown they're an expert in, and then dealing with the tight turns and the ornery dock workers on the mean streets of the city. Taxi drivers and rideshare services are next in line to lose their jobs. They'll skip the interim steps of phasing out human drivers and become fully automated around cities and suburbs. Cities will employ smart sensors on the streets that communicate with these autonomous cars, and the cars will be outfitted with LiDAR and a litany of other sensors and ADAS redundancies such that they are safer drivers than humans ever were. And this will happen before 2030. Number 2. Next up, customer service phone operators. Custom large language models similar to ChatGPT will be employed at scale, basically everywhere, to do telephone customer service. Those jobs are already farmed out to cheap labor outside the country, but if you've ever had a conversation with ChatGPT version 4, you'll know that it is already fully capable of understanding natural human language, even with the heavy usage of slang and terrible grammar, and it provides a very coherent answer to pretty much every question you can ask it. If you need further clarification, it has no problem rephrasing answers, narrowing down on subjects, and finding multiple ways to describe a concept, making it easier to understand. This technology will be refined for specific industries everywhere, so that it knows everything that a customer service agent should know in order to answer any question about whatever the thing is. And honestly, it's going to do a lot better job. Have you ever had it where you call your phone company to get some strange problem on your bill remedied, only to be thwarted by the person helping you, either because he can't figure it out, or just determines that there's actually nothing wrong and you're misunderstanding it? But then you'll call right back again, get a different agent, and they're able to fix it right away? The first guy was probably just new, or just never took the time to learn all the ins and outs of their system. But an AI that's been fed the entire company manual, never forgets anything, and can literally understand the actual computer code that everything's running on, will be able to diagnose any unusual problem and find a solution to it instantly. It doesn't get frustrated, and it never forgets anything. Another example, airline booking. This might be a little known fact, but all of the major airline companies have not updated their computer software for literal decades. This came to light last Christmas during Southwest's complete and total meltdown. They use code that was developed in the 1900s, which means that if you, for instance, notice that you're booked on a flight that has a layover, but something has delayed your first flight and you're gonna miss the connection, when you call and talk to an agent, they're looking at what equates to an MS-DOS screen on the other side and have to manually enter in airport codes to manually look for alternatives to rebook you in a way that will still get you where you want to go. Any modern version of this type of software would be able to look at every flight imaginable. You'd be allowed to choose between either the quickest or the cheapest or the most comfortable and rebook you in moments. And with an AI behind the wheel that can understand plain English, you'll be able to just rattle off the kind of thing that you want, and it'll be able to cross-reference every single available seat in the country instantly. This will improve life for obviously everyone other than the person who used to answer that phone, who now needs to look for a different line of work. Number 3. Retail. The agility and autonomy of robots moving through space is getting exponentially better every year. We are not far off from machines taking over the task of restocking shelves, cleaning floors, and keeping track of inventory at stores. Amazon warehouses have proven that robots are capable of moving millions of pieces of inventory every day. And I'm not sure if it's the same where you shop, but at my grocery store, there's already 10 self-checkout lanes and maybe 1 or 2 checkout lanes lines with a human cashier. Most retail stores will be almost fully automated within 5 to 10 years. Number 4, fast food workers. The first totally non-human, fully automated McDonald's is up and running in Fort Worth, Texas already. Certainly, it looks like a lot of innovation and a lot of expensive equipment went into setting this thing up initially, but McDonald's employs over 200,000 people. With an average pay of $12 an hour, if they were to go fully automatic worldwide, they're saving $2.4 million per hour. And fast food as a whole employs more than 12 million people worldwide. That is some incentive. And it won't stop at fast food. If you go to the big chain sit-down restaurants today, like your Applebee's or your Outback Steakhouse or everyone's favorite, the Olive Garden, those types of places, they're already putting these little triangle tablet computers right on the table where you can order appetizers and pay your check without having to wave down a server. One of my favorite little sports bars in New York, it's called Smithfield Hall. You just order on your phone and someone comes and brings out the food. There's not really a waitress anymore. So server jobs are in danger as well, pretty much everywhere except for fine dining, where I think they'll just keep that as part of the experience forever. It may be a while before robots are collecting your plates, doing the dishes, and cleaning off your table, but these food service establishments will be downsizing their server staff as AI and voice recognition makes its way into those little tablets, so that you'll still be able to order your carbonara ravioli with the little chicken strips from the fettuccine dish on top the way you want it without confusing the computer, because AI. And number 5, accountants beware. AI tax preparation tools are on the horizon. A large language model will be able to consume your entire financial picture, understand your profession, your work from home habits, and with it connected to your bank account, it'll know every single purchase you made in the last year, and be able to masterfully find every single tax deduction that exists in the very complicated US tax code, without a single bit of work from you beyond providing login information for the IRS, your bank accounts, and your credit cards. There's simply no way for any person to memorize or correlate enough data points to be able to keep up with AI. When it comes to being fed huge amounts of data and applying that data to hugely complicated sets of rules, AI is going to win. This is just the first wave. This will be the outcome while this technology still exists in aluminum boxes on shelves in a data center. The next phase is this thing. These are already being perfected. Tesla's hard at work making one. Boston Dynamics has one that's so advanced it can do parkour. What do you think happens when an artificial general intelligence is loaded onto one of these things' hard drives? At that point, you don't need a 2026 model Mercedes with self-driving capabilities, because this thing is the size and shape of a person. It can just jump into your 2004 Toyota Corolla and take your job as a pizza delivery driver. It can stand behind any counter and work any cash register. It'll never get bored or tired, it's never gonna ask for a raise, and it's coming. AI is coming for our jobs. When my mom was in her 20s, she worked in the mailroom of a big office. The company that it belonged to sold grain. Or rather, they facilitated the sale of grain from a whole bunch of other grain farms to whoever buys grain in a city. Bread factories, flour factories, whatever. It was my mom's job then to receive the paperwork from everyone who worked upstairs in the office at a desk, organize that paperwork in such a way that everything that was going from her building over to the Pillsbury building on 3rd Avenue would end up in one bag, and then everything from her building that was going over to the Mills Flour Factory on 2nd Street would end up in its bag. Sidebar, Mom, this is gonna blow your mind, but all these pictures that I'm using to depict you and your coworkers from the 1960s, these are AI generated. As in, these are not just some pictures of some girl from a long time ago. These people literally don't exist and never did. A computer program has completely fabricated these fictional people out of nowhere from a description I typed into a program. Within those bags full of paper, different papers from John Smith's desk had to be dropped off at Roy Johnson's desk, and orders from Eddie McCain's desk had to be dropped off at Mickey Sorensen's desk. And there was all sorts of collecting and sorting and collating and couriering and receiving and redistributing that had to go on for this process to play out successfully. Not to mention that if Eddie or Roy had made some small mistake on the letter that their secretary typed up for them in triplicate, it had to go back through that gambit and be edited and signed and sent off once again. Evidently, salespeople didn't type up their own documents. Office people in general didn't. Typist was a whole job. A whole career if you were born at the right time. All of this paperwork moving back and forth physically has now been replaced with PDFs, or Word, or Excel, or Pages documents. And that entire ecosystem of passing these pages around the city, or the country, or the world, now it's instantaneous and we call it email. Which means all of that human infrastructure is gone too, and all of the jobs to move that paper around the office and the city is gone with it. Sure, there's still paper mail, but imagine if every email, or Discord, or Slack, or Telegram, or even text message that you ever sent for work had to be typed out on paper and hand-delivered. That's how much less legwork is required now compared to the 1960s, and a bunch of jobs disappeared. We now send billions of messages every day, all maintained with the relative handful of server text keeping it all running. My mom ended up leaving the mailroom and becoming a travel agent, because at the time, air travel was becoming more and more common and a ton of new jobs were being created as a result. She also became a mom. And what a mom. We're just about to go through the same type of thing that happened when computers entered the office world. In the past, when this has happened, and it's happened a lot, we've always just moved into other industries. After farming, it was manufacturing. After that, it was office work and entertainment and service jobs and transportation. Next, fingers crossed on a universal basic income, but it's unclear what industry human labor is going to be pushed towards in the next few years as this revolution is taking shape.